and I go live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. To share with you some of the things that I'm working on. And I am also going to be running through all the different templates that are included in the catalog, just as my launching point to get the video started so that we have different ideas every week. So let's go over to my desktop and get started. So here we go. Let's take a look. This is the section of the catalog for quick and easy stamping. And at the bottom of page 22, we have 22 different templates. And I love using templates. Last week I told you a lot more about templates. If you want, you can take a look at that video. But I'm going to just be going across in order for all the templates. And this week I'm focusing on this one. And I'm going to show you just how easy it is to use the templates. Sometimes they call them sketches, but here they're referred to as templates, so that's what I'm going to use. So we're going to start with that very first one, and it's super easy. It only has 3 pieces of paper. So I went ahead and just created one just as it looks there in the catalog. It has a card base, and then it has a piece of designer series paper. Now, of course, you could use a solid piece of cardstock if you wanted there. You could layer it. You could do lots of other things. But for the purpose of our discussion today, I just wanted to make it as simple as possible. So this is the zinnia paper. This is found online only. It's an online exclusive. And then I used this new bundle called Labeled with Love. And I just wanted to share it with you. Sometimes, I get new stuff and I have to show it right away. I have to use it right away. So this is Labeled with Love, and you can see that it's a new label punch. Interestingly, this, instead of getting a punch, you could get 3 dies that come in this particular shape instead for the same price. So if you prefer dies, you could do that. So just something interesting to note. I decided I wanted to get the punch because I do a lot of label punching, and I thought it would be great to have another shape. It's a shape similar to one we had a long time ago, but very basic, great to have. And then this is the stamp set they pair it with. I love that it has a little outline and then lots of little sayings. Also, you note that the label can be used vertically, and they give you a couple of stamps that fit in that way. So here's just the happy birthday. I didn't use any of the other extras. We're going to work on that another day, I promise, because I can't wait to play with it. And then I use this ribbon, which is my new favorite item. This is the iridescent ribbon. It's an organza ribbon, I believe, organdy ribbon. I forget which that's called, but take a look at this. It has stripes in it, and it's that shimmery iridescent look, which wonderfully makes it go with just any card. I was going to actually show you how to color the ribbon with using the Stampin' Blends, but I didn't need to because it just reflects the colors that are in your DSP, and I think it just looks fabulous. And I just tied a big bow and I glued it down, and then I glued the label over it using dimensionals, and voila, here we have a beautiful card. You can see how you can do this with any DSP, any color cardstock, and any label, right? Any sentiment that you wanted to, even just a square. So you don't need to be fancy, but you make a beautiful card, quick and easy, just like that. But, we couldn't stop there. We had to use some other things. So today, well, I'll be honest, I am going to a swap this weekend, and I have chosen to use the Cutest Onesie set. I'm going to use the Cutest Onesie for the swap because I made sure that I purchased this right away. I don't have any good current options for babies. Oops, I got a little, this is from a cup that is sweating. I apologize for the little water there. But this bundle comes together, and one of the best things about this bundle, first of all, what a great little onesie it has on there, but it also is priced very, very affordably. And it was the stamp set that was used when we were at on stage, when they were showing us the items that they're really trying to offer things that are in various price ranges so that people can get, they don't have to spend a fortune in order to get the different, to have a collection of stamps that are useful for every day. So this stamp set is this bundle. I'm just looking it up for you. I'm just going to the index here. This bundle, Cutest Onesie. Let's go to page 64. I know I should have had this marked. I forgot. So here's the page, and you can see that the bundle is only $27. That's US dollars, but it's only $27. So it's really affordable, and you get the stamp set and the dies. And you can see separately they're 17 and 13, and you get a 10% savings. Now, while we're talking about bundles, I want to mention that starting on June 5th, going through the entire month of June, all bundles, so items that are priced this way, will be an additional 10% off. So that's a huge savings on buying the two items separately. So these are anything that are offered in a bundle with dies. So not with the punches, but with the dies. You can get them for an additional 10% off. So if it's something, if you've got your eye on a couple of the different bundles, mark your calendar for June 5th and you'll be able to purchase that. In addition, if you don't have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, both the mini and the regular size will also be 10% off. So something to look forward to, and don't worry, I'll remind you about that as we get closer. But you can see it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dies and all these little stamps, which are adorable. So let's make a card or two. We're just going to make one card, but I have another one to show you too. So when using that same template, I went ahead and I created this card. Now that template, instead of just plopping down a piece of designer series paper right onto the page, I mounted it on the same color cardstock, which is Bubble Bath, onto I mounted it onto the card base using dimensionals. So it gives it a little bit of dimension, so that layer has dimensionals. And I stamped and die cut out the little onesie because, I just had to do that. I actually cut a whole bunch of them using some retired papers that I had. You could also cut this out of designer series paper, something that coordinates, but this background paper is from the Bright and Beautiful DSP collection. It's a carryover from last year's catalog, 6x6 paper, and it does have some patterns that are conducive to baby cards, so sometimes a little bit harder to find. I do suggest, if you're looking at the Cutest Onesie, something that I wish I had done, and I didn't think of it at the time, but we have different collections of DSP by family. So I am definitely going to be purchasing the Subtles bundle, package of designer series papers, just so that I can use it with these, the Cutest Onesie stamp set. So you can see here, I just changed a little bit where the placement of my label was, and I stamped a big welcome to your sweet girl because, I had to use pink because I like pink. And I also layered the label onto another piece of Bubble Bath cardstock. I had it extend over a little bit just for some interest, and I used that same ribbon, just tied it in a knot and added it to the card. So a cute basic baby girl card, and that's with the DSP and using the die cuts to cut out that. And we could also have added some of the other little die cuts like the rattle or the little hanger that this can go on, but I chose not to do that for this card. So let's see. So next I want to make a card with you. So using that same designer series paper, this is one of the great patterns that's in the designer series paper, and on the flip side are these fun stripes, and I decided to use these fun stripes. And so what I did is I cut it to be just 1/8 of an inch smaller on all sides from a piece of basic white card base. Okay, so it's a 8.5 by 5.5 card base folded in half at 4 1/4, And then again, I just cut this paper to be just a little bit smaller. So I'm using the Designer Series paper in the background this time instead of in the foreground where I mount my sentiment. So just changing it up a little bit. Now you can always change the templates. You can do things like turn it on its side, change the layers. As I did, I added some layers and raised some pieces. So you could always do that. And next I'm going to take, this is a piece of, let's see, is this the right size? It's a little bit big. I knew it was a little bit big. Let me just trim that down. I must have, I was throwing this together just a few minutes ago and I must have miscalculated. So I'm just using my trimmer. And this I want to be 3 1/8 inches. And you can see I had it more at 3 1/2. And all the dimensions are in both the documentation on this video and will be up on my blog as well. But all the dimensions for this card and actually for the other cards that we use, they're just different papers. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on and I'm going to use dimensionals like I did on the other one because I really like the way that that looks. I'm just going to pop on 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 5. What the heck, right? We're doing this already. So I've got my 5 dimensionals. Whoops, got a little bug. All right, and we're going to put that onto the card base over the Designer Series paper. Okay, so that's going to be the basis of our card. And I'm going to set this aside because we're going to do some stamping. So anytime that you're looking to use Designer Series paper, you can always make your own. And that you can do that by stamping. So I've taken out a number of the stamps that I know that I want to use and a number of ink pads. And my favorite colors for baby cards are Pretty in Pink. That's a new one, right? We're so excited to have that back. Balmy Blue, Lemon Lolly, and Soft Seafoam. So to me, that speaks to a card. And we're going to make this a generic card, not boy or girl. So I'm going to start with our biggest one. Anytime you're stamping, you want to start with your biggest images. And that's just so that you have room for you can always fill in the blanks with the small ones. And I'm just going to tap, tap, tap with the, this is the onesie. And I'm going to stamp this on a couple of times onto my plain white paper. And I'm just using it hanging over a little bit because I'm also going to use the same stamp. I'm just going to use my baby wipe here. I should have my chamois, but I forgot to pull that out. So I always have baby wipes around. And clean it off, and then I'm going to use my Balmy Blue and do the same thing. So here we are. We're just making our own Designer Series paper and adding in our onesies. Let's see. I'll put one here. And maybe just a little one there. Okay. And then we have some white space. Not that it has to, we have to fill in the white space, but we might as well. So I'm just going to take the yellow Lemon Lolly, and I'm just going to use this little cloud image just because it's cute, and just put it in a few times, trying to use an odd number. So that's, what's that, 4. So we need one more. And I'll just do it, let's see, put one right there. Okay. I could also overlap, but I guess I'm avoiding that just out of habit. And then for our soft seafoam, I'm going to use the little teeny tiny heart. And we'll just tap that on. And you can see these colors are so pale and they just give the right tone to the card. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that anybody's going to notice, but I know. And we'll just put a little half of one up there. Okay. So we've got our Designer Series paper. And there we go. So we're going to take this and we're going to just put that in the center of the card. And we're just going to use some regular adhesive. Nothing fancy. I had a class last night and I still have some stuff around. So let's see. So here we go. And you can see it's just 1/8 of an inch bigger just because I didn't want a whole lot of other color coming onto the card. So that's our card base. And then I'm going to take this thin strip of this is the soft Seafoam again, and this time I'm going to use some Memento black ink, and I'm just going to stamp congratulations. And hopefully I'll be able to do this even with the camera in my face. Sometimes a challenge to get it straight, but we'll give it a shot. And if not, we'll flip it over. Let's see. We're going to flip it over, and this time I'm going to put my glasses on because it would have been easier if I did that. See, it's not just the camera in my face, it's also the fact that I need to put on reading glasses these days. How's that? Ah, so much better. Okay. Amazing what being able to see the difference that makes. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add this to the card, and we could do it up here. Let's do it up here as was done in the template. Let's see, I guess this is the good size. And for this, because it's such a thin bit, I'm just going to use some of the edges of the of my dimensionals, and I cut it down, and I always use my Stampin' Snips for that. And I'm just going to put some on either side. There we go. Doesn't need a lot. Okay, and I guess that wasn't too crooked, huh? I can't even tell. All right, and here's our congratulations. Going to lay that down towards the top, and whoops, that helps when you center it a little bit better. Let's try that again. That's a little bit better. Maybe. Okay, so one last thing, we're going to use a little bit of twine. This is some of our twine from our basics, basic twine collection that we have. And rather than trim it right away, this is a tip that I sometimes give. First of all, because it comes on a roll, I like to use my thumbnail and just, pull it out a couple of times to make it easier to tie. And then I just tie the bow while it's still on the roll so that I'm not cutting huge swaths of the twine and having lots and lots left over. So you can see here, I am going to fiddle with it a time or two just to get a fun bow, and then I'm just going to trim it from the roll and on the other side because I always end up with a little bit extra. And then we're just going to place this on the card. I'm going to do it over here next to the congratulations, and I'm going to use a glue dot for this. When I'm using twine, I just use the glue dot right off of the roll, and I just roll it up because twine makes such a little knot. I don't want it to be sticky all over the place, so I don't use it flat. And then I actually put the dot where I think I want the bow to end up, and then I squish the bow right into that, and here we go. We've got another cute card that can be used for a baby. Now that's all of these cards were done using that same template. Oh, I'll show you my original one that I started with. It's the same, but I used, this is Bubble Bath for the ink, and it just was all just way too light. So I switched it up and changed up the colors so that you could see it, especially, this is our lightest blue, and it's pretty dark from that perspective. So we have this card, and then we've also got this card. So all three of these cards were done doing that, using that same template. So you can see what different looks you get by using, by just changing out some of the pieces of the template. So I think that was all I wanted to share today. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being online. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. So we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.